Tonight's title for this class is When Unclean Spirits Return, Part 1. Unclean Spirits when they return, Part 1. Now, my last class, if you remember, one of my last classes, we were going over steps of the Passover and things like that. And it was about getting the leaven out. So I want to pick up where I left off and then carry on to this. So let's start at Exodus 12, 18 and 19. We'll hit a little refresher. Exodus 12.
This is the
verse 18 and 19.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even.
So during Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, we're supposed to eat unleavened bread, at least one piece a day, every day. Come on.
7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses.
So now that's one of the steps to this is we got to get all the leaven out of our house. Come on.
For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel.
You cannot eat any leaven during that 1 week celebration, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Come on.
Whether he be a stranger or born in the land.
So nobody, you cannot have no leaven during that week. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians 5, and we're going to start at verse 7.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 5, and verse 7. Purge out, therefore, the old leaven.
Because we got to get that old leaven out. Now, remember the class I talked about, a lot of us focus so much on finding that one last crumb in the toaster or under the couch or your bed or the car or this or that. We spend all this energy and effort trying to find that one little crumb. But we don't realize that's just symbolic for us to purge out the leaven or the sin that's within us. All right, come on.
That ye may be a new lump.
See, the Lord's telling us to purge out that leaven. See, he threw a little curveball at you. You're thinking he's talking about the leaven, at your house. No, he's talking about the sin inside of you. You got to purge that out. Come on.
As ye are unleavened.
Because we are supposed to be unleavened without sin. Come on.
For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
And Christ sacrificed for us himself. He did no sin. He took on our sin and sacrificed himself for us. Come on.
Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness.
You see that? So he's telling you, look, I know the rules is get the leaven out of your house. Yes, but that's just symbolic because you need to get that leaven of malice. And what else?
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity.
No, go back for it. Malice and what else?
Malice and wickedness.
And wickedness, all manners of wickedness. All that's got to be purged out of you. So just as you're working hard to get the physical leaven out, you got to get the spiritual leaven out of your body. All that sin. Read on.
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
But we got to be in this truth in sincerity, not just going through the motions, trying to get by, faking it till you make it. No, it's got to be some sincerity behind this. You got to truly love this. Come on.
I wrote unto you in an epistle not to accompany the fornicator.
You see that? Now the Lord is saying, and we listen to this, but we don't really focus in. He's saying, get all that out of you. And once you get that out of you, take an honest assessment of who's around you. Could be family, could be friends, could be people in the truth. But he's saying, take an honest assessment of all the people out of you, not to keep company with who?
With fornicators.
And we automatically think fornicators, sex. But you can fornicate with the Lord spiritually, listening to other doctrines, heresies, all these other type of things. So anybody bringing any type of fornication, physical or spiritual, you got to get them away from you. If that's your circle, you got to separate yourself and correct them. Read on.
Verse 10, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or with idolaters. For then must ye needs go out of the world.
Come on.
But now I have written unto you not to keep company if any man that is called a brother.
So it doesn't matter if this person is your brother or sister or mother. If they are stepping outside of these commandments, as much as you love them, blood's supposed to be thicker than water. All these old sayings people say, if they are in sin, the Lord has said, don't keep company with them. It's cut and dry. A lot of y'all want to hold on to family and friends too long. And then when you get bit, you wonder, how did I get bit? It's because even though they may not say, leave that church, leave that, don't listen to that, just spirit being around you can cause you to have doubts, start listening to stuff, and next thing you know, you're out. Read on. We're going all the way to 13. We're going to finish this out.
Be a fornicator or covetous or an idolater or a railer or a drunkard or an extortioner, with such and one to not to eat.
So the Lord said all these different spirits that people have on them, if it's contrary to this word, don't keep no company with them, because those spirits will rub off on you. Come on.
For what have I to do to judge them also that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within?
So I judge, you judge.
But them that are without God judgeth.
But them that are without God judgeth.
Therefore, put away from among yourselves that wicked person.
Because they're going to be judged. Those that are without God, they are going to be judged. So if you keep company with them, the Lord's going to judge you right along with them. Because instead of correcting them, that's my sister, I can't say nothing. Oh, that's my brother. I know he's in wickedness, but that's my brother. Oh, my husband, he hasn't kept no feast, no Passover, ain't respected a set, but that's my husband. That's my wife. I turn a blind eye to it. The Lord is saying they're going to be judged, and you're going to be judged right along with them. Go to Galatians 5 and 9. Galatians 5 and 9.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
It's just a little bit. Just a little bit of sin will ruin all of you. Just a little bit. That's just not that big. What I'm doing is not that big of a deal. It's okay. I'll work on it. I'm getting better. No, the Lord said just that little bit that you let slide, that little bit is going to ruin. It's going to be your destruction. It's going to be your downfall. Because you just let that little bit slide. It's not like I'm not out there sleeping with nobody. I'm not fornicating, but I can't control my members, whatever it may be. I like to run my mouth. I like to just whatever it is, the little stuff that you don't really pay attention to, it'll ruin you. Now, let's go to Sirach 6, 5 through 14. So that's why when the Lord says, when we just got to read not to keep company, and he lists all these different spirits to separate yourself from. And let me tell you, I want y'all to understand this very clearly. If you married and your spouse ain't attending Sabbath with you, ain't coming, ain't learning, ain't even trying, your mama, your sisters, your brothers, they got one of those spirits on them. And as long as you stay around them, it's a matter of time before you get bit. It's just a matter of time. The longer you wink at it, oh, but that's my family. The longer you keep winking at it, you will get bit. Now, Sirach 6, go ahead. Verse 5, we're going to go all the way through 14.
There's the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 5. Sweet language will multiply friends.
So in this walk, we do need friends. All right, come on.
And a fair speaking tongue will increase kind greetings.
So you say nice things, you're going to get a lot of people that you think are your friends. But the Lord is saying, okay, all those people you attracted, because we should be saying nice things and having sweet language to one another. But as far as calling somebody your friend, there's a certain criteria they got to meet. Read on.
Be in peace with many.
Be in peace with many. All your brothers and sisters, be in peace with all of them.
Nevertheless, have but one counselor of 1,000.
But you can't have everybody as your counselor. Everybody is your close friend. It's got to be somebody that you really vetted, really spent some time to really get to know. Say, is this person really going to be a friend? Read on.
If thou wouldest get a friend.
Now, if you would get a friend,
prove him first.
You got to prove that person. That proven process takes time. It could take years for you to say, you know what, this person really, truly, this is my friend. Now, all the men, I was close to all the men in the beginning, but there's a couple of men that was just really, really there for me at my highest points in the truth, my lowest points in the truth. And one of them's Captain Zabit. But it took a couple of years for me to look at him and for him to look at me and be like, this is my friend right here. We've been through many wars, many ups and downs. I seen him at his highs. I seen him at his lows. Same for me, he saw. And through those times, we both helped each other, built each other up, called each other, and that's how we can look at each other. That's a friend. It's a friend. We've been proven to each other. Read on.
And be not hasty to credit him. For some man is a friend.
Because sometimes we get in this truth and we're like, I lost my family. I lost my friend. First person say shalom to me. We're best friends now. No, don't be so fast to credit somebody. Take your time. Doesn't mean to be standoffish and I'm not looking. Just take your time before you start revealing things that you should only reveal to friends or a counselor. Come on.
For some man is a friend for his own occasion.
Because you'll befriend somebody too quickly and find out that they're only around you because life is good for you right now. You're doing good. They see that they can get something out of you. All right, come on.
And will not abide in the day of thy trouble.
But at the point of when you actually need a friend and they're like, oh, the money's dried up or you're not the popular one no more or this, then they're going to be the one to turn their back on you because you didn't really vet them to be a friend. Come on.
And there is a friend who being turned to enmity and strife will discover thy reproach.
Now, some friends, after you done confided in them and you thought they were going to be a friend, soon as the tides turn, soon as things start going bad for you, they're going to be one of the main ones. Yeah, and he was doing this or she was doing that. And you'd be like, well, damn, I thought you was my friend. They'll turn their back on you quick because you didn't prove them. Read on.
Again, some friend is a companion.
See, the Lord is telling you again, he's trying to let you know, look, a lot of y'all be giving people too much credit too fast. He's like, pay attention. Again,
Friend is a companion at the table and will not continue in the day of thy affliction, but in thy prosperity he will be as thyself.
But when you're doing good, he'll be just like you. He'll have his chest. Oh yeah, come on, this is my friend or she's my. But the minute, things go bad, they're nowhere to be found. Come on.
And will be bold over thy servants. If thou be brought low, he will be against thee and will hide himself from thy face. Separate thyself from thine enemies.
The Lord is saying people like that, separate yourself from, keep them at a distance.
And take heed to thy friends.
And take heed to the people you call your friends. Did you finish verse 13?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to 14.
A faithful friend
Go ahead.
A faithful friend.
So the Lord gives all that to warn you of the type of people to stay away from. Because you're trying to weed through all that to get to a faithful friend. A faithful friend, come on.
Is a strong defense. And he that hath found such and one hath found a treasure.
Now, a faithful friend is a strong defense. Why is that? Why is that faithful friend a strong defense? We're talking about that good friend. That good friend's a strong defense. Come on.
There's the book of Proverbs, chapter 17 and verse 17. A friend
loveth. Now, this is a good friend, that good defense.
A friend loveth at all times.
Now, that good friend loveth at all times. When you're high, when you're low, when you're doing good, when you're doing bad, that friend is going to be there. That's that strong defense.
And a brother is born for adversity.
And a brother or a sister that's really a brother or sister, whether it's by blood or in this truth, they're what?
Is born for adversity.
They built for adversity. So when you go through adversity, they're going to be right there with you. They're not going to run from it. That's the type of friend. That's the type of person you call a brother. That's the type of person you actually call a sister. They're not running when times get tough. They're going to be right there for you. Now, part of that tough time is telling you when you're going off. See, a good friend, the reason why they're a defense is because when you start slipping and falling, they're not going to slip and fall with you. They're going to grab you and say, listen, you need to come up out of that. You in sin. That's wrong what you're doing. See, a good friend is not afraid to tell you when you're wrong. A good friend will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. That's a big difference. It's a very, very big difference. Hearing what you want to hear versus hearing what you need to hear. So a good friend will do that. A bad friend will tell you what you want to hear because they want to keep their friendship. But a good friend will say, you know what? If this costs us our friendship, I'm going to tell you this anyway. Don't matter. If you're mad at me, if you take the correction or not, I'm going to tell you this because this is what's right. A good friend will do that. You may be mad for a minute, but then when you get back in the spirit, you're going to be like, you know what? They told me right. I'm glad they told me that. And that's what we got to get, that good friend, because a good friend loves at all times, meaning they're going to be there for you at your highs and at your lows. All right. Now let's go to Luke 11. No, we're going to start at verse 21, because that good friend, remember, is a strong defense, right? Strong defense. Come on.
Luke chapter 11 and verse 21. When a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace.
Now, when a strong man armed, meaning he's got a defense, he's got protection for everything, for all his possessions. When a strong man's armed,
But when a strong
No, read it from the top.
Man
When a strong man
armed keepeth his palace.
No, read it from the beginning of the scripture.
Excuse me. When a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace.
His goods are in peace. His family, everything's in peace because he's prepared. He's ready.
But when a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor, wherein he trusted, and divideth his spoils.
Oh, listen to that. Listen to that. Let's go back over that one more time. When a strong man, now this is Christ speaking. You got to think spiritually with this right here. Let's read it from that part right there. When
a strong man armed keepeth his palace.
You're armed. You got your defense up. You got your friends. You got everything in place.
His goods are in peace.
Everything's in peace. You're good. You got to protect it. Come on.
But when a stronger than he shall come upon him.
But when something stronger than you comes upon you,
and overcome
him,
he taketh from him all his armor, wherein he trusted.
Everything that you trusted, all this armor to protect you, is taken away from you.
And divideth his spoils.
Read on.
He that is not with me is
that is not with Christ
is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth.
Now, what's going on here? Because we're thinking of protecting our palace. Now, what are we? You're the temple. And we're supposed to have this temple protected. And when you look at the verse 21, it says you're a strong man, right? Is armed, the palace is at peace. So what is it saying? No matter how strong you are, you let your guard down for a second, thinking, I'm strong, I got this. Something's going to come that's stronger than you. And if your defense ain't right, you'll be overcome, like we just read about. Christ is going to elaborate some more on this. Keep reading.
Verse 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man.
Now, this is why I started with purging out that old leaven out of you, right? So during Passover, that was our reminder to get that leaven, that sin out of us. We purged this temple. We got ourselves clean. So we got that spirit out of us, whether it was lust, whether it was covetousness, whether it was greed, whether it was whatever sins you might be battling. We got that out of us. Now this palace got a defense. We got our defense up. Read on.
He walketh through dry places.
That spirit walks through dry places because it's used to being inside of you. Now that spirit is gone. Dry places, he can't find another home. He's looking, he's searching, he can't find no other place to go.
Seeking rest. And
where can I rest? Where can I get inside of this unclean spirit of lust or covetousness or lying, backbiting, malice, envy, hatred? Where that spirit, where can I go? Nobody will let me in. Come on.
And finding none.
They can't find no place to go.
He saith, I will return unto my house.
Let me just go back to where I left. Maybe the door might be left open. Maybe a window's open. Maybe something there I can slide on in.
Whence I came out. And when he cometh,
we're going to go all the way to, you know what? Hold that right there. Hold that right there. I want y'all to think about something. Hold that. Let's go to James chapter 3. Hold that. We're going to come back to that. Let's go to James chapter 3. And we're going to read 1 through 10.
This is the book of James, chapter 3 and verse 1.
So now, this is the mindset I want to put you in right now. You purged out that spirit you was dealing with, right? And you swept this out. Passover, I had an issue with this. I fixed it. I got it out of me. It's gone. I've cleaned this right here. I got all that wickedness up out of me. Now watch this. James chapter 3, we're going to go 1 through 10.
James chapter 3 and verse 1. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation.
Be not many masters. It's good to try to be good at a lot of things, but the more things you are trying to be in or involved, the more opportunity is for you to mess up. So for instance, the higher, let's just take the men, the higher you move up, you're an officer of 20, 50, 60, up to a captain. That's more people the Lord is saying you're responsible for their spiritual growth, to guide them. So it's greater condemnation when you mess up, because if you're an officer of 10, you just got 10 people that you entrusted to lead. Now, if you're a captain of 100, you got 100 people. So you could lead 10 people easier than you could lead 100. So don't be many masters unless you're really built for it and ready for it. Now read on.
For many things we offend all. If any man,
meaning many things, is so easy to offend somebody. So just imagine if you're over 50 people or 50 families, you could say something that 49 of them will love, but one person can find it offensive. I think he's talking about me in that class. That's what it means. For many things we offend all. Come on. For in many things.
If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man.
If you could somehow find a way to talk to people, teach and lead, and you don't offend not one person, that's a perfect man right there, or a perfect woman that cannot offend anybody with their words. Read on.
And able also to bridle the whole body.
Because if you can control your tongue, your words, and you can control your whole body, what the Lord is saying. Read on.
Behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth.
You know, the rope that you put in the mouth to guide them.
That they may obey us.
To move that horse to the left or to the right. Come on.
And we turn about their whole body. Behold, also the ships, which though they be so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm.
So you see those giant cruise ships, they got a little steering wheel or a little helm that turn that whole ship. You'd be like, man, this big old ship can be turned by this little wheel, or now they got these little joysticks that control them. Come on.
Whithersoever the governor listeth, even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. So
the Lord is saying, out of your whole body, one of the smallest things on your body is your tongue. But yet it causes the most damage, because your words can either save you or can condemn you. Your words can either bless somebody or curse somebody. Come on.
And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity.
Meaning all our tongues is built for sin. Just by the way we talk. Easily can we sin. Easily can we offend somebody.
So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed, and hath been tamed of mankind. That's
why you can go to the zoo and see lions. Think, how can that lion, how did they get that lion? A man can capture and get anything. Elephants, tigers, they got, even SeaWorld got, dangerous, animals and stuff. And the man can capture and tame any animal. Read on.
But the tongue can no man tame.
But the tongue, that's a battle we will always fight until the Lord return. That tongue, what you say. We're always going to have that battle. Can't tame that tongue. Come on.
It is an unruly evil.
You can't, it's hard to rule this tongue. It's an unruly evil.
Full of deadly poison. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men.
Yeah, that what the Lord has said. You know, you may get up in the morning and say your prayers. Oh Lord, thank you. You bless God, and somebody cut you off in traffic, and you cursing them out real quick. Just that fast. The same mouth to bless somebody, bless the Lord, or bless your brother or sister. You can use that same tongue to curse somebody. Just that fast, you can fall out the spirit.
Which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be.
So out of that mouth, if you can't control it, you can bless and curse out of that same mouth. Now, why did I go through all that? Because when the unclean spirit leaves, we think, well, I'm not bringing back fornication. I'm not doing fornication. I'm not in lust. I've controlled all that. And we overlook our mouth, saying the wrong thing, gossiping, backbiting, tale-bearing, things that we don't really consider. I'll work on that. It's not that big of a deal. I'll get that right. But that's a spirit. That is a spirit. Now, I want you to keep that in mind. Go to Sirach 28, and we're going to read 11.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 11. And hasty contentious kindleth a fire, and in hasty fighting sheddeth blood. If thou blow the spark,
meaning your tongue is doing all this damage. Your tongue could have kindled it, but instead, if you blow the spark,
it shall burn. If thou spit upon it, it shall be quenched. And both these come out of thy mouth.
So you have the power to say, you know what? I'm not going to be a part of that gossiping crowd no more, or that lying crowd, or that backbiting crowd, or that crowd that's always laughing and joking at other people. I'm not going to be a part of that crowd. Or you hear the laughs and the jokes. You didn't start it. Well, you know what? Let me give my laugh and joke about that person too. Oh yeah, well, did you hear this? Or I know about what they do. So you can either quench it by saying, hey, listen, that's our brother, that's our sister. Why are you talking about her? Why are you talking about that family? We could do that. Or we can be like, yeah, well, you know what? That family, they are weird. And guess what? They kids, you can egg it on. That same mouth. Come on, read. We're going to go all the way to 22.
Curse the whisper and double-tongued, for such have destroyed many that were at peace.
So the Lord has said in that tongue, curse that whisper and double-tongued sister or brother. For such have destroyed many. You can destroy somebody. You can kill their confidence. You can make them insecure just because of your big mouth that you can't control. Read on.
A backbiting tongue hath disquieted many, and driven them from nation to nation.
People don't want to be around you. Oh, you know what? That person, they got some evil sisters over there. They always talk, you know, I'm just going to leave this school. I'm going to leave this truth. It's just like the Christian church. And you cause them to leave because of your damn mouth. And it's happened. Read.
Strong cities hath it pulled down, and overthrown the houses of great men. A backbiting tongue hath cast out virtuous women.
You see that? Good women, good sisters. When people, you know, you got your cliques and everything else, all that talking behind people's back and stuff, you know what? You got a good virtuous woman right there, good virtuous sister. And because of your wickedness, you cause her to be like, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. They're not genuine. They're not real. And trust me, there's going to be a price to pay for that. Read on.
And deprive them of their labors. Whoso hearkeneth unto it shall never find rest, and never dwell quietly. The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh.
So sometimes, you know, if you grow up, you was bad like me, and you got whippings and stuff like that, you remember like, oh man, that hurt. You know, mom really, really put some oomph into that. You know what I'm saying? But read on.
But the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones.
But what words people say to you hurt more, because see, that physical pain of that belt or that switch or whatever, that hits you, yeah, that hurts right then and there. But the minute that's over, it stops hurting. But when somebody says something about you, you're fat, you're black, you're ugly, nappy headed. I'm just saying stuff we used to say as kids to people, but things like that, they never forget it. Because when they look in the mirror, they say they were right. And you'll destroy somebody. Or you're talking about their family or their kids, or they always broke. They don't have this, they don't have that. Look at their clothes, look at their shoes. You had to destroy their confidence. I don't want to come here because they're gonna see like, man, I'm kind of struggling, and they're gonna look at my shoes and see this and that. Like, they don't want to come because of your mouth. You can destroy somebody. Read on.
Verse 18. Many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue.
So the Lord is saying, out of all the wars that has ever been, there's been a lot of people that died, but nothing has destroyed more people than the tongue. Read on.
Well is he that is defended from it, and hath not passed through the venom thereof, who hath not drawn the yoke thereof, nor have been bound in her bands.
And every single one of us have been talked about to some extent at some point in our life, from kids to adults at some point. And we remember how it did not feel good, but yet we do it to others. So we have to watch the words that we say. Read on. We're going to go all the way to 22.
For the yoke thereof is a yoke of iron, and the bands thereof are bands of brass. The death thereof is an evil death. The grave were better than it. It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
But if you fear the Lord, you will have rule over your tongue, and your tongue won't rule over you. And it all starts with, see, people really believe. A lot of people don't truly believe. So that's how they can carry on and have gossiping inside of here, or backbiting inside of here, or all the sins that people do inside of here. They can do that because they don't truly believe. This is Christian church to them. Not all, just a few. There's always a remnant, in every school, that people don't really believe. They're only here because their husband, if it wasn't for their husband, they'd been left. Or if they could find another man to do what their husband's doing, they'd leave him, or their wife or whatever. That's the only reason why they're here. But the minute they can find a way, they'll leave. And it's always those that don't truly believe. Come on.
Neither shall they be burned with the flame thereof. Such as forsake the Lord shall fall.
Wait, no, that's I just want to go to 22. Read 22 one more time.
Verse 22. It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
So the tongue won't have rule over you if you truly fear God.
Neither shall they be burned with the flame thereof.
Now the Lord is saying, for those that can't rule their tongue, they will be burnt with the flame. Now go to Haggai 1. We're going to read 1 through 3.
This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 1. In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, saying, verse 2, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, This people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. Verse 3, Then come the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying,
read through 5.
Verse 4, Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses?
So is it time for you to stay in your houses?
And this house lie waste?
And the Lord's house lie at waste right here? Because we got to have a place to gather everything else until the Lord return.
Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways.
The Lord said to do what?
Consider your ways.
The Lord said to consider your ways. Now I'm going through these two things right here real quick, and then I'm going to get to the point. Go to Sirach 38, verse 24. The Lord is saying, you sit in your house, you got all your stuff covered and everything else, but the Lord house over there needs to be built. It's empty, needs work done to it, but you don't care because your house is good. The Lord is saying, consider your ways. Now, go to Sirach 38, verse 34.
There's the book of Sirach, chapter 38 and verse 34. But they will maintain the state of the world.
And it's because a lot of people's comfortable maintaining the state of this world.
And all their desire is in the work of their craft.
And all your desires is in your work, so I can get more money or overtime for your craft, because you worried about your sealed houses. You worried about that. You're not looking at the Lord's house like, man, the Lord's house, I'll just sit and wait for somebody else. No, the Lord will tell you to consider your ways. What's more important? A place where everybody can go to worship the Lord, or just you keep adding on to your house, adding on to your riches? You got to consider your ways. Give me Tobit 12 and 9. Tobit 12 and 9.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 12 and verse 9.
Now I'm going through these things right here, and I'm going to tie it in here in just a second. Tobit 12 and 9.
For alms doth deliver from death.
Now, the Lord is saying, a lot of us, we were in the congregation of the dead, walking around in sickness and sin and all type of foolishness. The Lord delivered us out of that. And he said, one of the key things, though, once you get out of that, though, is alms do what?
Doth deliver from death.
You got to give alms to this. The Lord's house need to be built. There's always something that the Lord's house is going to need. And it takes faith. A lot of times it's, yeah, but if I give this, then I'm going to be tight, or I got this. Meanwhile, you got a big savings over there. You got the, you don't realize that the Lord's not giving you any more, not trusting you with any more money. And that's why you're always in a lower state, or you're always broke, because you won't give to the Lord. So that's what you got is all he can trust you with. Anything more than that, you destroy yourself. But the Lord is saying alms deliver from what?
From death. And shall purge away all sin.
And that helps you purge away all your sins. So when the Lord says to purge out that leaven out of you, part of that purging process got to be giving alms. Read on.
Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life.
You see that? You're going to have a nice, blessed life. Now, that's not to say you're not going to have no ups and downs. Yes. But if you mix alms with righteousness, it'll deliver you from death, and you'll be filled with a blessed life. But we see, oh, well, you know what? I got this bill. I got that. I got this. And you make those problems bigger than what they really are. So, you know what? I'm going to hold back here. I'm not going to give. The next thing you know, you've been holding back so long, you haven't been giving no alms. Now go to a Luke 11. We're going to start at verse 24.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 11 and verse 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. He saith, I will return unto my house whence I came out. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh to him.
So hold on. We don't want to miss this point right here. Read verse 25.
Verse 25. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished.
So that unclean spirit came back. And he says, oh, man, they purged it out. They made it nice and clean. It's swept and garnished. What happened right here? The person that you thought were your friends, or the safety, or the armed, you know, your protection that you had. Remember, we read back in what was that? Yeah, earlier in the verse. Matter of fact, let's go there. Verse 21. Watch this.
Verse 21. When a strong man armed keepeth his palace, his goods are in peace.
See that? That armed man, you got your friend there. You cleaned out all your sins. It's in peace.
But when a stronger than he shall come upon him and overcome him, he taketh from him all his armor wherein he trusted, and divideth his spoils.
Now drop down to verse 24.
Verse 24, when the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. He saith, I will return unto my house, whence I came out.
Verse 25.
And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished.
So that spirit came back. Now, here's a question for y'all. When that spirit came back, did it come back the same? Here's a question. Who can answer that? When that spirit came back by itself, did it come back the same? I don't hear anybody. I don't see nobody either other than. Let's go to Soldier Yakanan. Unmute yourself. When that spirit came back, did it come back the same?
Oh, no, it didn't, sir. No, it didn't. It didn't. It came back with other spirits.
No, it did not. No, it did not. Read verse 25 for him.
Verse 25, and when he cometh, he findeth it swept.
When he cometh, he findeth it swept
and
Mhm.
garnished.
So how did that spirit come back?
Oh,
Esther.
that person didn't have the spirit of God in him anymore. It was
No. Sister Esther, I think unmute yourself. How did that spirit come back? Up top in the top, yeah. Unmute yourself. How did that spirit come back?
He came back strong.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly it. That spirit left and got desperate. Remember, it said it went through dry places, couldn't find no place to go. So when you come back, it was already defeated once, right? That's how it's out the body. That's why the spirit's gone. Now that spirit come back, he's like, look, if I come back like this, he's got the answer to me already. He knows how to keep me out. So that spirit's got to come back stronger and smarter. Now, remember my class that I gave about that spiritual leaven that you got to get out of you, right? A couple weeks ago. What did I say happens around day 5-ish during the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Who remembers? What did I say around that time? What happens around day 5-ish? I'm going to call on you. So I need a volunteer. What happens? Who's paying attention to Soldier Jehiah? Soldier Jehiah. Who's paying attention? This lets me know who's paying attention to the classes. Unmute yourself, Soldier Jehiah. Left down to the far left. Soldier Jehiah, unmute yourself.
All right. Yeah, you said scripture says that.
No. I said what happens around day 5-ish during the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Oh, you start craving that leaven.
Yes, you do. You start thinking of pizza and bread and all the things that you can't have during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So you swept out these unclean spirits that you've been having on you since you was born or since you was old enough to remember. You always was a gossiper. That's why I went over controlling the tongue, or I went over maintaining the state of the world. You worried about your money. You worried about everything else, but you're not worried about the Lord's house. You always had that spirit in you, whether it was malice, covetousness, backbiting. Now it's gone. You start missing it because that's part of who you were. You were part of the crowd that was gossiping. You were part of the crowd that would talk down on other people. And you got rid of that. Now you around and you live in your normal day. All of a sudden, you hear somebody say something about so-and-so, so-and-so. Then you start wait a minute. You talking about so-and-so, so-and-so? What happened? Well, hey, keep this on the low. Now you right back in the mix again because you heard something so juicy. No, the officer was doing that. The officer's having problems with his wife and their kids. No. And he's telling us not to do this. Are you serious? What? You start hearing that, and then now you right back in the mix because you had it under control. You was good when it was just talking about brothers and sisters, but now you heard something juicy about a captain or a deacon. Oh, what's going on there? That deacon did what? No, what? Now you're right back. That spirit came right back in you just that fast. Now you got to go tell the people that you used to talk to all the time with gossip. Hey, girl, you just not going to believe this. I heard this about let me send it to you. And then you're right back in the mix. Passover over. Man, that week hit me hard. I had to buy this, I had to do that. I was off for work a few days. As soon as Passover, I'm taking up every day I can. I'm trying to get overtime. I'm trying to get this, I got to get my money back right. And in the meanwhile, we need this on the school. We need this, we need that. Man, I got to get myself right. I got to get my money. I don't have to worry about the school later. Somebody else got to do it. You start worrying about maintaining yourself in the state of this world, and you're not looking at how you can build the school. You're not looking at how you can, you know what? I know I could come for this flyer, but I got to go out there and make some extra money. I got to do this. I got to do that. Next thing you know, you right back in that habit of letting everybody else put in and do this. And then they'll get it. Meanwhile, you see everything that the school needs, from paper towels and toilet paper to even little things as ice to food to the rent. Somebody else will get it. I got to worry about myself. That's why I went over those two things right there, because we can fall into those things right there. And that's just one spirit. That's bad enough if it's just that one. But that's just that gateway. That's just the gateway to get that one spirit back in you. Now read on from Luke. So that one spirit came back. Read verse 25.
Verse 25. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished.
See that little leaven, that leaveneth the whole lump? It came in. It was just one spirit that came back. It was like, man, this place is clean. What? You got right back into the gossiping. You got right back into the backbiting. Got right back to the covetousness, the malice, whatever it was. You got right back to that. You let that one spirit back in because you started craving it day 5, day 6, or month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. Started craving it again. Now read on once that spirit came back.
Verse 26. Then goeth he.
Then that spirit that you let back, he got the key to the house now. He got his own bedroom now. He's good. So now that he done came back, he's like, okay, look, I got a key. I'm comfortable. I can go and come back as I please now. Read on.
And take it to him 7 other spirits.
Then they come back with 7 other spirits. So now how many spirits is in you? How many spirits in you now? That's right, 8. Let's see if they 8 weak spirits. Read on.
Other spirits more wicked than himself.
More wicked. That's why I started off. It could be just the tongue. It could just be you maintaining the state of this world, not giving alms, not participating like you should or could on flyer missions and camps and everything else. Or on a sister call. Little things like every week we have Wednesday night wisdom, but you're the last one to show up every time. Oh, I missed the class. I had to catch the next last one. Always consistently coming late on the Sabbath day. We're supposed to be here at this time. Oh, yeah, I was late again. Little stuff like that. Just the little things, little leaven, right? You're supposed to purge that out. You're supposed to do an honest assessment of yourself and say, I got to work on this. I got to get this better. But you let that little thing back in, and then now you got 7 other spirits worse than that. So it started off with those little things, but guess what those spirits brought back now? It brought back the hard stuff to deal with, the fornications. It brought back the malice, the jealousy, the covetousness, the envy. Now it brought all these heavy things with it. And that's why, like when I showed you the picture earlier, you can have pillars, leaders that think that they got their defense up. They let one sin back in, and then it brings on more and more and more, and then you don't see him no more. That's why I want you to see that. Because it can happen to anybody. When you entertain a spirit and let it back in, it's going to bring worse ones with it. You cannot take this as a joke. You cannot take it. It won't happen to me. You cannot. The minute you say it won't happen to me, you're as good as done. Because you let your guard down at that point. It's over for you. It's over for you. If you ever feel it won't happen to me, it's over. It's just a matter of time. You're a ticking time bomb. It's over for you. I want you to go all the way through. Did you go to 26?
I didn't finish it, sir.
Okay.
And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
So the way you was before Passover, to where you are now is worse. Now you got yourself so far buried because you got all these spirits on you now. Instead of trying to fight one to get out of you, got to fight 8, and they strong as hell. Go to Galatians 5. We're going to start at verse 22. Let's look at some of these spirits that come up on you once you let your guard down after you were supposed to purge out that leaven, but you let your guard down, letting the little things back in you, right? You started off with the little stuff. Once that little stuff came back in you, then it went and got stronger, 7 stronger spirits with them. Galatians 5, we're going to read 22 to 25.
There's the book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is...
Wait. I want 16 through 21.
Verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
But the Lord is telling you, you got to walk in the Spirit. You got to stay in the Spirit. You got to stay in that Spirit, because if you're in that Spirit, you got your defense up at all times. You're not letting your guard down. You're not thinking, this won't happen to me. You're like, look, this could happen. I've seen it happen to men that were great. I've seen it happen to men that had more time, more seasoned than me. I've seen it happen to strong sisters, and they out, lost their mind. So I can't let my guard down. I'm walking in the Spirit. Come on.
For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit.
Because your flesh, you can say, no, it don't, but it does. Your flesh lusts for those same sins that it was doing. It lusts for, it wants those things back. It's fighting to get it back. That's why you got to stay in the Spirit. Read on.
And the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary, the one to the other.
And they always warring against each other. It's always warring. That spirit versus the flesh, it's a constant battle in you every day. It's always warring. And you let your guard down, you let those spirits back. And once you let them back in, it's almost impossible to get it back. It's almost impossible. Read on.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
Now the Lord is saying, there's a lot of people get confused with this. Read that again.
Verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
Now people think, how does that make sense? Well, I'm going to make this. Okay, let's make it simplify this. If you're led of the Spirit, and see that Spirit is what? Capitalized. So if you're led of these laws, statutes, and commandments, you're following Christ. If you're led by that, yeah, you're not under the law. Because why? You're already keeping it. If you're following the law, how are you going to be under it? I'm following it already. I'm following Christ. I'm keeping everything. So yes, I'm led by the Spirit. So I'm not under that because I'm already keeping it. It's like telling me, hey, stop smoking cigarettes. Well, I don't smoke cigarettes. Oh, okay. You're already doing it. All right, read on.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
Now, here's some of the 7 spirits that come right back in you that you had under control, or you may not have never had before. Adultery.
Fornication. Uncleanness.
Any type of uncleanness.
Lasciviousness.
That gets into like sickness, not sickness like physically sick, but sick sexual desires. You was cool with just women or just men. Now it's like, I like to see 2 or 3 together at the same. Now you start getting to lasciviousness, sickness, not sick, like I said, physically sick, but sick sexual desires. That's that worst spirit coming back. How you started off, you was watching porn, but you got under control. Now, regular porn's not doing it for you. Now you watching midget porn or something. Multiple men, multiple women, and you looking at the men where you look at the women now. Wicked spirits come back in you worse. Read on.
Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies. All
these different sins come back into you. Now, like I said, tonight, this is the foundation. This is part 1. Part 2, I'm going to go into some of these unclean spirits that can come back on you. All right. So we just hitting the surface with this tonight. So at first it was just a little gossiping. There was a little bit of this. Now it done graduated to lasciviousness. Now it done graduated to covetousness, envying, malice, all these strong, wicked, hard spirits to get up off of you because you entertained a little bit. You just entertained a little leaven, right? Just a little leaven. You entertained it. Now you bit. Entertain your family. Entertain your friends. I'll come by on Thanksgiving. I ain't gonna eat nothing, but I'll come by. Just entertained it. Excuse me. We're gonna go to verse. Where do I want to go to? Where verse you at?
Verse 21. Verse 21. Envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things
If you do any of these things, you have any of these spirits on you. Come on.
shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
You're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. You're not going to inherit the kingdom of God because you entertained one spirit and it brought in these other ones because you never fixed it. Give me Sirach Proverbs 6:26.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 26. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread.
Look how low fornication will take you. Read that again.
For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread.
So you don't let that spirit back in you. Now you're back to watching porn again. You're watching these whorish women. And it breaks you down to the Lord said, to a piece of bread. You got no backbone. You so weak. You can't wait to get to home and your bottle of Jergens. Brought you down to a piece of bread. Showing up late for class because you got to go dry your hands off. Somebody, you do this right here. Yeah, your hands are soft as hell. Your hands is very moist. What the hell's going on here? I'm just joking with you. I'm just saying. He rubbing his hands like this, like, is it? No, that not be. Buying family style lotion and you're a single man. Yeah, I know what's going on. You let that spirit back. And it takes you back to a piece of bread. It consumes you. It's all you think about. And that happens to sisters too. Read on.
And the adulteress will hunt for the precious life.
They'll hunt for you. They'll hunt for you. You start looking it up. Next thing you know, every time you get on any social media site, it's the first thing that pop up. Whatever type of woman or man you like, it'll pop up. An ad for it or something. It'll pop up. They'll hunt for you. Now, not only you're not searching for it, it's just popping up on you now. Now it's really hard to get away from it. Why? Those spirits come back strong. And the Lord saying you like a piece of bread at that point, soggy and soft. Very moist. Give me let's go back to Galatians. I want verse I think it was 22 real quick. That last one we left off on. 21. And then I want to go to Proverbs after that. I'm bouncing around a little bit.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 21. Envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told.
No, go to the verse above that. The verse above that.
Verse 20. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies.
Heresies, that's what I want. Heresies. Go to Proverbs 28, verse 5. So one of those unclean spirits can bring on heresy. Why is that? And why is that so scary? Read this.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 28 and verse 5. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things.
Evil men understand not judgment. So once these evil spirits get on you, right? Now you're in sin, and now it gets brought to your attention. Hey, you got to fix this. You got to work on that. And instead of being upset at yourself for falling into sin, now you're mad because you got corrected. You'll understand the judgment now. Or maybe you got put out the body because you're in fornication or some type of sin. You got to be stepped aside for a little bit to get yourself right. Why they kick me out? Why did you? Then you start listening to heresies. They shouldn't do that. They really your brothers. They wouldn't kick you. You should still be able to go. Instead of saying, I need to fix this, get this evilness off of me. You don't understand judgment no more. You listen to the heresies. And once you start hearing the heresies, you're as good as gone. You're gone. You're done. It's over. Because you let those spirits back. It just snowballs. Once it starts going downhill, it's hard, virtually impossible to stop it. Go to 2 Peter 2. 1 through 3, yes. 2 Peter 2. Wait, hold on. 2 Peter chapter 2. 1 through 3.
There's the book of 2 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people.
Because inside of here, like I said, there's not everybody's right. There's always going to be some people that don't like leadership or do anything they can to undermine them, hoping that they fall, hoping that they can lead men and women astray. Read on.
Even as there shall be false teachers among you.
See that? There's going to be some false teachers among us that want to draw men to them.
Who privily shall bring in them.
Privily, privately. They don't say nothing out loud and ask questions to get exposed. They say things where they can get you one-on-one. You know that what they saying ain't quite right. You know, I got a cold breakdown. Watch this. Anything they can to get your ear so you can move on to the side so they can fill you up with more heresies. Read on.
Shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
You know how they deny the Lord that brought them? Is the Lord put it on their in their minds to repent and to join IUIC. But then now, because they want to be the man or they want to be the woman or they want to have preeminence over people, now they deny it. Oh, that's a wicked organization. They wrong. They this, they that. Meanwhile, the Lord led you there. But because you got that unclean spirit of envy, hatred, malice, all right, now it's like, yeah, they not right. I have the answers. Come follow me. Read on. And that's how they deny Christ. Read on.
Verse 2. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reasoning of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
Yeah, some people gonna fall victim to that because they got those itches. They want to hear it. They want the drama. They're looking for a way out. They never truly believed. Come on.
And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you.
Right. They're gonna sit there and have you come, and the next thing you know, you paying them, giving them, and more than what you would give here, because you done fell to it. You done fell victim to it, to your own self, because you never fixed yourself. Come on.
Whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not.
Now that damnation is coming. It's coming. People think because execution of judgment, it doesn't happen speedily, that I guess I can just stay right here. Nothing's going to happen to me. No, it's a matter of time. That judgment is coming. Following behind heresies because you let that spirit back in you. And it's too restrictive here. It's too hard. It's too this. It's too that. Let me go someplace where it's easier. That just sounds right, what they're saying. I knew it shouldn't be this restrictive. You let that spirit back. And it all started with what? Something as small as not controlling your tongue. Or started something as small as, I'm not giving no alms. I'll get it next month. I'll do this next time. It'll be okay. And you let that spirit back, and then here comes these wicked, more powerful spirits right behind it. And you buried yourself. Give me Galatians 5. And now let's start at verse 22.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace.
Now, this is how you're going to be able to fight against the fruits of the flesh, or the works of the flesh. Sorry, the works of the flesh. This is how you fight against it. Having your guard up at all times, staying in the Spirit, like Bishop always says, studying, you're praying, and applying all those things that you learn. All right. Now, yeah, go ahead and read it now.
Galatians chapter 5 verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace.
That's how you fight against the works of the flesh. You got to have some love, joy, and peace in this right here. Come on.
Long suffering.
Patient. You got to be patient, because everything you want, need, and ask, it ain't going to come to you day one. Sometimes things take a while, but you got to be long suffering. You got to have the patience for it.
Gentleness, goodness, faith.
Got to have gentleness, goodness, and faith. The faith is what's going to sustain you, because sometimes things is going to be hard, but you have the faith that is going to work out. You have that faith.
Meekness, temperance. Against such.
Now, that temperance is always being in control. Don't get, soon as you get mad real quick, you got to Nah, stay in control. Temperance. All right. Stand in control. That's one thing that a lot of us can do better in, is we can get high and low and mad and hot and cold and all that too easily. Our emotions get the best of us. Temperance, staying in control of your emotions. All right. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just stay in control. Having that temperance.
Against such.
Temperance, when something comes through, some good gossip, you hear something in the background about a deacon did something wrong, and you want, no, I'm not going to get involved in that. If anything, I'm going to go over there and correct them and say, y'all out the spirit. They're talking about somebody, they're not here to defend themselves, and you gossiping. Temperance allow you to do that. Come on.
Against such, there is no law.
Against those things, there's no law against that. So if you have those spirits, those 9 spirits right there, you'll fight off the works of the flesh, the envy, the malice, the hatred, the fornication, the adultery, all that covetousness. You'll fight that off. But you got to have the fruits of the Spirit in you. And you got to keep working on not falling victim, or you got to keep working on having your defense up. That's having a good friend, a friend that will tell you when you're wrong, tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, controlling your tongue, making sure that you got your defenses up, because those spirits, every single one that you purged out of you, they will come back stronger. So whatever you battle, listen, you have to understand this, whatever you have battled in this world, spirits that you battle, they may leave. They will come back. And if you let your guard down, and if you haven't gotten stronger, they will come back and bring worse spirits with them. All right. Matthew 12:43. Now we read it in Luke. Let's read it from Matthew.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the
You
first.
see that? You were doing good. That's how you can see people that was doing good. They made it to this level in the truth. Then all of a sudden, not only they get out for something, they be like, man, they just come back. Man, ain't that really that serious? And then next thing you know, you find them on social media, and it's like, damn, they went all the way back in the world, because they become worse at that point than they were before they even came into truth. Worse. After tasting the goodness of the Lord. Read on. Finish that.
Even so shall it be also unto the wicked generation.
It's going to be to this wicked generation. Because they'll hear this and they'll fall right into that. Because you won't truly fix and purge that leaven out and keep it out of you. Let's go to Proverbs 31 and 10. We're almost done, y'all. Proverbs 31 and 10. So when you purge out that leaven out of you, that sin, that malice, that wickedness, that adultery, the fornication, the lust, the need to want to get high or abuse your body or porn, whatever it is, when you fully purge that out of you, this is what the Lord is saying y'all women are to be.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
The Lord is saying y'all like rubies. You're more valuable than rubies. Once you can purge out that old woman and keep that old woman out, all the old wickedness that was attached to that old woman, once you keep that out, the Lord said you're more valuable than rubies. And that's what you're supposed to be. Now give me Isaiah 13 and 12. So sisters, purge out that old woman. All the things that you may think, this is just little stuff, I'll fix it. No, don't wait till tomorrow. Fix it today and keep it away from you. Keep that wickedness away from you. Don't let it back in. Don't entertain it. If somebody else, maybe you might have to change your circle. If your friends is into gossiping or little, whatever it may be, and they don't want to change after you try to correct, then separate yourself. But don't let them kill you. If you want to destroy yourself, that's fine, but you can't destroy me in the process. So that's the same mindset you got to have. If your old friends want to continue to destroy themselves, okay. And that might be your mama. That might be your dad. That's cool. But you're going to do that over there. I'm going to separate myself because I'm not going to let you drag me down with you. Read what you got.
There's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
Now, men, brothers, once you purge that leaven out, you got to keep that leaven out. That lust, that fornication, adultery, malice, covetousness, wickedness. You got to keep that out. And then the Lord said, you're going to be worth more than gold.
Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
So the most precious gold that was on earth, the Lord has said, you're going to be more valuable than that. But you can't be that precious gold if you got this leaven or sin still in you. That has to be purged out. That has to be going. You got to be able to have control over that and not entertain and let these unclean spirits back in you. Go to Jeremiah 6:30. So the Lord's looking at you as fine jewelry, more valuable than fine jewelry. But to be fine jewelry, you got to believe it. You got to say, okay, look, I got to get to that point. I got to purge all this stuff out of me. If I'm going to be fine jewelry, I'm going to be more valuable than that. I got to purge it out. But when you don't fully purge it out and you entertain it and let little bits of it back in, read what you got.
There's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 30. Reprobate silver shall men call them, because the Lord hath rejected them.
Now, why would the Lord reject you? Because you didn't purge it and keep it out of you, the sins. You entertained it and let it be back, let it come back in. So instead of being that precious ruby that the Lord wants you to be, instead of being that fine gold the Lord wants you to be, you're what? Read it again from the top.
Reprobate silver.
You're not even real silver. You're fake silver. You the silver that when you put it on, turn your neck green. You're supposed to be precious, more precious than gold, more precious than rubies. But because you got that sin still in you that you entertain and they brought back more wickedness, the Lord calls you what?
Reprobate silver.
You ain't even real silver. You ain't even worth silver. because you entertain foolishness and you let it back in. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, 5-7.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith.
You can't just read that like we always do. Yeah, there has to be some action behind that. You have to examine yourself. Look, what sin is really in me? What's really in there? What I got to really work on? And you can never be comfortable with any of it. I don't care how small you may think it might be. Don't get comfortable with it because it will bring back other spirits stronger than that. And if you couldn't handle that little small sin, how you gonna handle the 7 ones that's coming that's even stronger? You can't. Examine yourself, Lord. That should be part of your prayer. What error is in me? What sin is in me? If I don't see it, reveal it to me, Lord. Give me a chance to fix myself before it's too late. That should be a part of your daily prayers. Is there any error in me? What I need to work on, Lord? Examine yourself. Read on.
Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates?
Now you're reprobate because you claim to be this follower of Christ, but you got this little sin in you that you ain't even trying to fix. You overlooking. You're reprobate at that point. Read on.
Verse 6. But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates.
You should trust and know we weren't made to be reprobates. We weren't made to be always dabbling in the same sins over and over and over again to where now it's comfortable with you. Every time you sin, it should feel like you got electrocuted. Oh, I can't believe I did that. It should be a shock to you. If you can sin and go about your day like nothing ever happened, don't even pray right after you do it, you become a reprobate. Think about that. Every time you sin, it's got to be a shock to you. Like, damn, I can't believe I did that. I need to go step aside right now and go say a prayer. I cannot believe I fell for that one. But if you can go right back to your computer or your phone and you pull up your browser and the first thing pop up is porn or some wild wickedness or something else, whatever else, you go typing in a website and it autocorrect goes to something that you've been going to this whole time. And you can do that and don't feel the shock of it, you're getting close to being reprobate. Read on.
Now I pray to God that ye do no evil.
I pray that y'all don't do no evil because those spirits is coming right behind it.
Not that we should appear approved, but that ye should do that which is honest.
You got to do that which is honest. And that only comes with taking an honest assessment and examining yourself.
Though we be as reprobates.
Though we be as reprobates, meaning no matter how hard you try, we are going to fall short. We are going to sin. But we can't be comfortable in that sin. Last scripture, give me Hebrews 10. So if we be as reprobates, meaning we do sin, we do mess up. Give me Hebrews 10 and 26. Because being as reprobates, meaning we do sin, but there's a difference between sinning and this right here. Read.
There's the book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse 26. For if we sin willfully.
If you willfully sin, you know you got an issue looking up porn or you got an issue with lust. You haven't blocked those websites. You haven't done nothing. The only thing you've done was made sure that your house is well stocked with lube and lotions. You reprobate. Read it from the top.
For if we sin willfully.
That gets in the reprobate right there. When you sin willfully. If we sin willfully.
After that, we have received the knowledge of the truth.
And you realize, man, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Those are works of the flesh right there. I keep gossiping. I keep backbiting. I keep being a part of a clique. I'm not inclusive. I keep talking about people behind their back. You reprobate. That's sinning willfully.
There remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
So the Lord died on the cross meant nothing for you because you're going to have to die in the end because you sinning willfully. So with that, I pray, as you finish the verse?
Yes, sir.
With that, I pray y'all got something out of this class. Take an honest assessment, examine yourself, and say, you know what, am I letting anything back in? I purged myself for Passover, got all that out. I really worked on myself. But now that Passover is a few weeks out and you start to get right back into your normal routine, am I letting something back in? Is there something coming back that I'm overlooking, that I'm comfortable with because I was craving it again? Examine yourself and don't let those spirits back because they bring it back worse things. Now, this is part one. Lord's will, next time I'm able to go deeper into some of these unclean spirits. And the thing about these unclean spirits is, and I'll touch on this on the next class, is they'll come in you and you don't even know they're there. You still think you're you. You still think you're the same person. But other people can see it. We'll touch on that right there on the next class.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.